G.W. Bullock Elementary School with Edgecombe County Public Schools, and I had the opportunity to work this summer with the town of Tarboro, and Miss Wendy Coxon's not here today. But it was a joy to work with her, and you're going to see her again in just a moment, and a couple of pictures. Wendy is the Director of Human Resources for the town of Tarboro, and I was kind of like, what do you do? Well, when I got to meet with her, this lady had everything planned out. Monday, I was with her in the field, and Tuesday, I was with Public Works. Wednesday, I was with, I think maybe the fire department. Thursday, I was with the police department. I also went and did water and sewer as well with the whole town. So I am going to call Wendy, and I told her she was the jack of all trades. She did it all, from the hiring process, unfortunately, to the firing process for the whole town. So while I was at my externship with the town of Tarboro, I was kind of like, what happens here? You know, like, what's the big idea? What's the goal? What's going on? And if I could share everything that I did, we would be here a lot longer than the 7 minutes that I have. Probably like everybody else who is able to be involved with this amazing program with Steph and opportunity. But I was not able to talk that long. And these are just a few of the things that I got to go do while I was there. So I learned about job applications. I learned about the electric department and how much energy is being used, which is what this lovely graph here is, for the town and for individual homes every single day. I got to see them put up a new light pole, which I thought was kind of interesting, or electric pole. The water sewer guys here, the same thing. Our water from Tarboro comes from the Tar River, and so they have to clean it. They get the sludge. They sell the sludge to farms that are local in Edgecombe County as well to, you know, help us provide more for where we are. I didn't really think about the town of Tarboro including the recreation department. That's kind of something that was just on the back, you know, the back of my brain. But they set up classes for our senior citizens that are there. They set up for aerobics, water aerobics that we have. And then when I got to work with the Public Works Department, sort of, you know, some things don't really register with all of us because as educators, I don't really always think about taking my trash out on a Friday. I do it, but even though it's raining, those guys still have to come by and they still have to get that trash. And even though Thanksgiving is coming up next week, they're still going to come by on Friday and they're still going to get your trash and your recycling. It doesn't matter if it's rain, sleet, snow. They are going to be there all of the time to make sure that their job is getting done. So with all of this information, I teach in 5th grade and a lot of 5th graders. I have like 101 5th graders at one school and I get them all. I was like, what in the world am I going to do? So I brought it back. And honestly, I was really bad at taking pictures of my kids because I was so excited about teaching them. This is all I have of them. This is it. But they had to work together for a couple of different things. And I did have Miss Lisa. I did not know how to pronounce her last name. Thank you to my Edgecombe County people who did that for me. But she was able to come in and she was able to help me with my students teach some different programs like Pixton and Book Creator and even Canva. For us to be able to use to create our products that we did. So the first thing my students had to do was they had to create a town. They had to list everything that was involved in a town. And it was very interesting because some people included fire departments, some people did not. But every single one of the towns that were created had 2 things, which I thought was interesting. A post office and a church. So they always, apparently those are 2 important things for my students, which I appreciate because postal, you know, like mail was not a thing for them, but if they get a card in the mail, they go crazy and they love it. And so I just thought it was really interesting as they were creating their own towns that those were 2 things that they were really excited about putting in their designs. So they drew that out, and then they also were able to create those images as well on the computer programs that we used. And their favorite thing was probably making themselves as an avatar. Like, I think we know that there's a lot of social media apps where kids can do that now, and I think just for them seeing themselves as a cartoon version was really cool, and they really enjoyed that process. But that was not my final project. My final project was, because we have 101 5th grade students at Bullock, and we have an influx this year of students that are not from the Edgecombe County area. They have not always been in Edgecombe County. They have not always been at GW Bullock Elementary School. We have a lot that have been there since kindergarten or pre-K, but we have had at least 25 students this year just in our grade level alone that have no idea about anything about Bullock Elementary School. So their goal was to create either a pamphlet or a slideshow about what does a fifth grader need to know. So I started off by thinking what's important for them to know, and I created kind of a slideshow for them of important information. Our administrators, our instructional supports, the school nurse, because we can only give Band-Aids or a wet paper towel, but the nurse can talk to them and make a child feel better instantaneously. So that was important. They need to know our school custodians, because sometimes we run out of trash bags or paper towels and we need a little bit of help, and if the kids know where to go, it's easier for them to find them. Essentials is their favorite because they get bored being in the classroom with us. So they were able to figure out their essentials teachers and then our office staff. Then the other important information is the people kind of that are on our hallway. So on my hallway at school, we have 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade teachers. And we also have some essentials teachers as well. So I'm going to really quickly go through this. They were able to drag and drop with the slideshow, kind of going through to create their design. And the cool thing about Canva was my students have not, they use computers a lot, but they're not always exposed on how to take a picture or an appropriate picture of themselves or of others. And so you see, I was like, oh, hand motions, like let's try not to go a little crazy. But we still did it. But they either made a pamphlet front and back, which you see, or they made a slideshow of things that they thought were important for our students to know. They also found these images online and they learned how to take screenshots themselves, which I thought was very interesting, because they shared their own rules and not necessarily the rules that were made in the classroom. This student right here, she just started maybe one day before we actually did this project together. So she had to learn all of the information from Book Creator to Pixton to creating our town in one day, and then she created this the very next day by herself. So there's some information that's like, not spelled the best or a little bit incorrect, but I was very pleased because her coming from a completely different state to come here, she was already sharing very interesting facts about certain teachers and what she was excited about with them, their attitude, their personality, what they got to do in her class, or what she got to do in their classes. And again, finding the screenshots I thought was really cool. She only had one day, and her website's a little outdated. It's okay, we're working on getting it fixed. So they were able, I just thought it was very interesting. They were able to zoom in. If you actually look at the picture with Mr. Stanton, which is kind of at the top, you see like our blue shirts in the background. So, you don't think about 5th graders not knowing how to take a screenshot and zoom in, but I was really impressed with her and her ability to do that. And then just one last little slideshow